Time is it? 8:19. I've started this at probably 7:30. When I get boat parts, I'm like ready to go. Let's install them. This hatch, look at it. Can you see the crazing? It's like the Pirates of the Caribbean compass. You know, Jack Sparrow's compass. That's nice, eh?
Now we just got to get our autopilot saying we're pointing in the right direction.
But our Depthsounder stopped working again the other day. 8 years ago, we started this circumnavigation. No kids, no job, a sabbatical of sorts, an adventure of a lifetime. A brief respite from the corporate world to live life. 8 years later, 2 kids, same boat, 1 circumnavigation under our belts, we're back at the starting line, staring at what's in front of us. Do we sell the boat? Do we buy a house? Do we raise our children aboard? Do we go again? After much deliberation and an attempt to settling down, we've reached a unanimous decision. The only way forward is to once again set sail around the world. First up, the Pacific Ocean, 4,000 nautical miles of open ocean, and another 4,000 nautical miles to New Zealand, where we'll start the build of our next boat, the Nahoa 55.
One of the questions we get asked all the time is how much money do I need to live out here? And I just spent 2,000 EC, which is the $1,000 Canadian, on groceries for basically 2 weeks. Like, we'll make it 2 weeks with the groceries that I have. Some of it's pre-bought in the bilge. Some of it I'm provisioning up. Like, I bought staples like canned tomatoes and mayonnaise and stuff, and I'm going to put it in the bilge to replace what's gone from my bilge. Whatever you spend at home in most places is what you're going to spend on your boat. Because the food does not get less expensive if you're buying like Western food. What does get cheaper is if you're, say, living in Indonesia and you're going to the local markets and piecing together the rest from your staples in your bilge, then it is like on a weekly basis, because you have those provisions in your bilge. On a weekly basis, your bill is a lot less. And if you're eating local food out, it's a lot less. Like here, to go for a meal, I have no idea what it would be, but I'm telling you right now, it's a lot. It's really neat what you can find island to island, and sometimes I stock up when I can find it, because you never know what you're going to find in the next island, and that's okay. You might pay a little bit more some places, but you'll pay a little bit less down the road. I'm sure of it.
You're moving through these countries fairly quickly with the season, right? With the trade wind season. So whether you're in Indonesia or Philippines or Thailand, you know, that's I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, maybe a year at most. And then you're on to the Maldives, where it's crazy expensive. And then you're on to Seychelles, which is pretty expensive. And then you're into Madagascar, which has nothing. It all averages out between the really expensive countries and the really cheap countries, and based on what your preferences are, whether you like pasta every single night or you like the occasional steak, you know, that's all going to be a factor in terms of how much you spend.
I guess they don't like spinach.
Okay, you want to know what life in anchor is like? This is what it's like. I'll show you.
So we're in a massive squall here. It's super uncomfortable. We knew this was kind of right. Everyone knew that there was going to be a squall. It was meant to hit earlier today, but it didn't. It's now, of course, dark. And Ben thinks there's a couple boats. There's already been a call on the radio of a boat having in distress. And it's like 2 boats colliding.
412, please answer your radio. This is Kalea. Do you copy?
There's a couple boats anchored here. And there's a catamaran up there with its bow pointed downwind, which is not typical when it's blowing 30 knots.
It happens, but you have to be ready. So what we're doing is just paying attention to what's going on in front of us, because if we are tied to our mooring and not able to get off, then we are just like sitting ducks for the people being pushed downwind onto us. And there's quite a lot of boats ahead of us. It's a busy anchorage.
402, this is Kalea. The vessel is fire and you calling.
The problem is,
402, you are still hooked up to our anchor chain.
We're hearing your transmission. If you could say a harbor, there may be other vessels that are listening.
Full moon is in Maho Bay. If anyone's going to say, full moon is in Maho Bay.
Malo Bay, Maho Bay.
All
That's
right,
here.
we're in
That's here.
Nahoa Bay. We can go out and assist.
It was a nice evening. Everyone's got their dinghies down. Toys are out. Stuff gets caught in props. Hot and split.
402, please answer your radio. Copy, copy.
Vessel going to assist the vessel Kalea. Identify your vessel. This is the U.S. Coast Guard, Channel 16, over.
We're willing to assist in Maho Bay, but we don't see the vessel. We'll look for their location if they could give their coordinates again.
This is the problem, is that when you foul at anchor, one person's anchor can drag over top of another's, and it can be really a really bad situation because you can't get the boats apart. You can't separate them. Anyway, Ben will talk more about it. Let's see what's going on. He's up front in the mess. I haven't ventured out yet. It is a proper rainstorm. I would be soaked in a second.
U.S. Coast Guard's kind of awesome. Always listening, always ready to help. Gotta love them. Thanks, guys. The vessels in distress were able to untangle themselves. I believe one lost its anchor and chain, the other was able to safely re-anchor, and we were able to get back to boat work.
So I'm going to jump in here and tell you a little known fact about me. I really struggle to fall asleep at night. I cannot turn it off, especially in times like these when there's a million things going on as we get ready for the Pacific Ocean crossing. I toss and turn, Ben snores away next to me. And so that's why I was so excited to try Dream. Dream is a luxurious drink blend with the highest quality sleep promoting ingredients that is clinically shown to improve sleep. I've been having a Dream tea every night now for the last month, and I'm so happy I tried it. I wake up in the morning feeling energized and ready for the adventures of boat work, kids, cleaning, provisioning, whatever the day might throw at me. Every night, about half an hour before I want to fall asleep, I mix up a cup of my tea with my handy mixer here. And my favorite right now is the cinnamon cocoa flavor. It reminds me of the winters at home. A hard picture, I know, but it is so, so good. So boil, pour, mix, and cool a wee bit, and voila, perfect dreams. I love that Dream has high-quality sleep ingredients that leave me with zero grogginess the next day. In a clinical study, 93% of participants reported Dream helped get a better night's sleep and wake up feeling more refreshed. So if you or anyone else you know suffer from poor sleep and want to fall asleep easier, sleep better, and wake up rested and energized, then click the link below or scan the QR code and use code Nahoa to get up to 35% off.
Okay, for the litmus test, because, you know, I'll tell you the truth. Not bad. It's got a good amount of sweetness to it. It's good. It's delicious.
Don't drink my drink, man.
Mm.
You sleep like a baby anyway.
Dude, this is really good. Something we're doing different on the circumnavigation, the second lap, is we're provisioning or trying to provision as much as possible up here in the U.S. Virgin Islands. It's only like 7-day sail to Panama, and most people actually provision in Panama to cross the Pacific. Panama is great for provisioning, but it's also hectic, hot, very, very hot.
And the anchorage on the Panama Canal, like on the Pacific side of Panama, which is where people always provision, is not nice. Like, it's not a nice anchorage. It is the rolliest anchorage I think we've ever been in, almost ever in our entire life.
Tomato.
Yeah.
Tomato, for some reason, is always the worst.
Tomato eats through cans.
Yeah.
Bad, but I label the tops because they're in the bilge. Two things can happen. One, you could lose the labels and then you have no idea what's inside it, which would be like awful. We know people that happened to and it sucked. Two, it's easier to grab something if you know it. I used to put the dates on them too, but I can't be bothered anymore. I'm too lazy.
Good morning.
Good morning. Did you guys catch any fish yet? Okay, darling.
Keep running.
Didn't purchase a fishing license, but I think the authorities let this one slip by. The swell has come up though, so there was a system over there last night. You can see the swell rolling in. It's only like 2 meters deep here, so as the swell comes close to the shore, the waves build. I think we're gonna move first thing this morning and head on over to calmer anchorage. This time of year, there's always lows coming off the US, and those lows, even though they're thousands of miles away, create this ground swell that comes in from the north, and well, it's here. And it's gonna get worse over the next couple of days.
Oh, I got it.
Wow, that contrast between the blue and the orange is beautiful today. Between the blue and the orange, the gray skies, good day for the spin.
What's wrong? So I'm laying here just finishing up some yoga. That's the BBIs right there. We were about 10 miles out when I started. Probably 7 miles out now, maybe 6. But I hear drilling from the back. Drilling. What on earth could Ben be doing, guys? So you're retapping it and putting a new bolt in.
So this cleat has 2 studs on it, and one of the studs, this one, stripped out. So I found a bigger bolt and I'm retapping it and put it back in. It should be stronger than before. This is crazy what happens on boats, man. Like, how does a stud like that rip out of a cleat? But I guess after almost 20 years of sailing, that's what happens.
That one's used a lot too, eh?
No, you can't come up here, dude. It's too high. Too high. What do you think, Ash?
Seems fine, we haven't hit yet.
Famous last words. We haven't hit yet. Do you want to weave left through these bommies right here?
I don't know what to do. They're a pretty solid line.
Yeah. I'll slow down
We
here.
can go closer to the beach, but I just don't want to hit the bottom.
Sometimes the water is so clear that you don't actually know how deep it is.
Sometimes you don't have a Depthsounder, and then you really don't know how deep it is. Can't tell if it's rock. Some of it looks rocky. Some of it looks like seagrass.
We our Depthsounder crapped out the other day.
Good job, Bodhi.
Want to swim back to the boat?
No, yeah.
Okay, go.
Good job, Bodhi.
Good job, bud. We have these older displays. These are ST60s. That's our autopilot. It works great. Depth and speed. The depth hasn't been working. And this is our wind, obviously. So we thought it was our actual transducer that sits in the bottom of the hull and pings the bottom of the ocean, and it's not. It's this little display up here. It's just not working. So we've pulled out an old iPad, and what I'm able to do is actually duplicate our interior display on this iPad, and I can control it too. So there's different screens. You can do whatever screen you want, but there's my depth. And that's just going to sit right up here beside our other iPad, which we sailed around the world with charts. So some of these old instruments, they stop working after a while, and it's just, it is what it is, you know? They're just old, 20 years old. So with this kind of solution, second iPad, it's a pretty solid fix because it's using the newer technology from inside and bypassing these displays right out here. So check that one off the list.
Well, is the full-blown panic over yet, Ben?
I didn't have a panic.
A little bit.
I've been trying to figure out why we've lost half of our solar array. I think I finally found it. This is chafe. Usually you have chafe on like your running rigging or your sails, not on your solar panels. I got chafe on my solar panels.
The funny thing is it coincided with a super bad storm, and then they just stopped working. So we were a little bit concerned it might have been lightning. We were a little bit concerned something had blown up. But all the charge controllers and everything have been working. Ben has been trying to fix this for 3 days, 2 days. It's been a challenging one.
Just yesterday.
2 days. 2 full days.
So that's been touching that, which has caused this to all go down. I have to figure out how to replace that wire.
I don't know how you're gonna do that. It's right at the top.
That was a hot day, a busy day. It's been like that for the last few weeks. We've had a guest on board, your mom, but we've also been trying to get ready for the Panama Canal. So there's been a lot of buying of parts and trying to cross our T's, dot our I's in terms of boat maintenance.
We have a transit date, like we mentioned, of March 31st. We just have a couple parts that we want to have before we go through the Panama Canal that haven't quite been properly decided on when they're going to arrive yet, and they're very important parts. I will give more details later. We're just waiting until next week to firm it up. Okay guys, that's it for this week, and look forward to catching up with you again so soon.
Bye for now, guys. Thank you.
Papa,